The way we celebrate Christmas today is heavily influenced by the Victorians. Many aspects of Christmas tradition are more ancient, of course, so examples like religious celebrations and decking the halls with holly and ivy. These are more ancient, but the Victorians were responsible for really codifying these ideas. They loved the Christmas season so much, and they depicted it so enthusiastically in art and in literature, that it's the Victorian vision of Christmas that dominates our modern consciousness today. My name's Katherine Howells, and I'm the Visual Collections Researcher at the National Archives. And in this document display, I'm going to show you some of the visual materials at the National Archives that tell the story of the development of the Victorian Christmas customs and imagery. One reason the Victorians really loved Christmas was that they associated it with ancient English traditions. Perhaps as a result of increasing modernisation and industrialisation in the 19th century, there was a real craze for nostalgia about a perceived idyllic medieval English past. Here we have a set of 4 Christmas carol cards. They were registered for copyright protection in 1871 by Benjamin Sulman. He was a prolific publisher of greetings cards at the time. You can see the influence of medieval revival in these images, with Gothic type and illuminated lettering. Also registered by Sulman in the same year, these illustrations are described as drawing of 6 medieval subjects representing Christmas proceedings in the olden time. This one shows a man pouring drink for poor visitors and includes a quotation attributed to 16th century farmer and poet Thomas Tusser. "At Christmas be merry and thankful withal, and feast thy poor neighbours, the great and the small." Many records of 19th century Christmas imagery held at the National Archives are part of our copyright collection. This means that they were images submitted to the Stationers' Company to be registered for copyright protection. The commercial reproduction of visual images was increasingly important in this period, and more people would have seen and owned printed images. This may partially explain why Victorian depictions of Christmas have become so influential in our British culture. The Victorians had a deep affection for idealised notions of childhood, and this was a perfect fit for the sentimentality of the Christmas season. They loved images of children, and particularly children frolicking in festive pastoral scenes. And these kinds of images are found throughout the copyright collection. In this set of 8 Christmas card designs, we can see children in various snowy scenes with holly, robins, and a Christmas tree also making an appearance. These cards were also produced by Benjamin Sulman, who was responsible for a large number of the cards from this period in our collection. He commissioned a range of artists and illustrators to create designs for his cards. From newspaper articles, we can see that Sulman was celebrated for his ingenious card designs, which apparently included moving parts and pop-ups. The sheer quantity and variety of Christmas card designs found in our collection indicates their popularity. This all started in 1843, when the first Christmas card was sent by civil servant and inventor Henry Cole. Cole had worked to reform the British postal system, encouraging the sending of seasonal postcards. He commissioned a personalised design of 3 generations of his family raising a toast for Christmas, and he had thousands of copies printed to be sent out to friends and family. By the late 19th century, when these examples were being produced, the Christmas card market had hugely expanded. Publishers were also becoming more creative with their designs, folding and cutting the paper in different ways, and using a range of different materials. We hold a beautiful set of Christmas cards depicting British landmarks by day and by night. These are designed with cut-out sections so that when you hold them up to the light, the moon and the lights in the buildings glow. We can also see that they were originally decorated with glitter. One element of Christmas tradition which is integral to our vision of Christmas today is the Christmas tree. The Christmas tree was brought to the UK as a German tradition via the royal family. Princess Victoria would have been familiar with the Christmas tree through her German relatives, but in 1848, an image of the royal family gathered around their Christmas tree was published in the Illustrated London News, and their popularity in middle-class households really took off after this image. Again, our copyright records provide examples of the Christmas tree entering British culture and becoming an important part of Christmas tradition. In this illustration from 1866, we see a tree decorated with a variety of baubles and 2 children, a snowy scene and a robin in the background. This was designed by A. Purnett and registered for copyright protection by a different publisher, Alexander Laidlaw. In 1871, this set of 4 designs was registered by Benjamin Sulman again. This one shows a Christmas tree surrounded by excited children. In the same set, we can also see an illustration of a snowman and children having a snowball fight. Another important Christmas custom, which we sometimes take for granted today, is pulling a Christmas cracker around the dinner table. The cracker was actually invented in 1847 by Tom Smith. Tom Smith was a confectioner who was looking for creative ideas to increase the sales of his sweets. He first tried placing love messages inside the wrappers of his sweets, as is done with fortune cookies, and then he developed the idea to include other gifts inside his new crackers instead of sweets. He then added the snap element of the cracker in 1860. Tom Smith's creativity is evident from the advertising he produced. We hold a large collection of advertisements in our copyright collection, and you can see the variety of different kinds of themed crackers he created. These also give us an insight into the interests of the Victorian and Edwardian periods, and how these were commercialised and marketed. Some good examples of his crackers include his Christmas tree crackers, parlour fireworks crackers, and Marconi messages, which were inspired by the development of radio waves. There's also a set of crackers based on Louis Wayne's illustrations of cats. Despite the consumerism which was developing rapidly in this period, Christmas was still associated with charity and helping those less fortunate. Middle-class spending power was growing, while the plight of the poor was worsening, and this terrible contradiction in the period was even more evident at Christmas time. Concern over this situation resulted in a lot of literature being published on the subject, the most famous example being Charles Dickens' A Christmas Carol, published in 1843, which became hugely popular. Many of our modern ideas about Christmas were influenced by A Christmas Carol directly. The National Archives holds a set of photographs which are copies from magic lantern slides and which illustrate A Christmas Carol. These were submitted for copyright in 1884 by the photographer Frederick York, and they were titled Marley's Ghost. In this example, we see the Cratchit family Christmas dinner. What's particularly interesting is that some of the photographs are combined with illustrations, which you can see clearly in this image of the ghost of Christmas present visiting Scrooge. It is interesting that so many developments integral to our Christmas tradition took place in the 1840s. The sending of the first Christmas card, the publication of the image of the Christmas tree, the invention of the Christmas cracker, and the publication of A Christmas Carol all occurred in the first decade of the Victorian era. The boom in consumerism of the period and increasing fascination with nostalgia, childhood, and the middle-class home all combined to lead the Victorians to fall in love with Christmas. As our records demonstrate, the increase in mass-produced visual material depicting Christmas customs and imagery has helped to fix a particular Victorian vision of Christmas in our cultural memory today.